When it comes to false prophets, these guys always end up high on our radar of false prophets.
Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth through the Holy Spirit. And as always, I would like to give a special peace and blessings and salutations to the Lord's hopeful elect. Alright, I'm the brother Zion. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to feed the sheep and the lambs of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And pretty much, as usual, I'm lamb backing right now. And I want to put this information out here, even though we already know, it's always our job as men of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai to, clean up the mess, if you will. All right. And we know IUIC, okay, is nothing but Christian Israelites. Okay. That's what these guys are. Christian Israelites who took the bag clearly. Okay. And they teach false doctrine. All right. It looks good when they're marching up and down the streets, when they're marching in unity with all purple on. It looks good when they got the fancy garments and the nice productions and all of that. But inwardly, these guys are false prophets. And they break the scriptures down the wrong way. In particular, all right, Revelation the 13th chapter. Now, obviously, I'm laying backing off the elder brother Manatazak, all right, which a lot of you brothers obviously seen this video. But I decided to do my own, all right, put it into my own words through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. So I'm going to actually go a little in-depth, all right, concerning the MOTB on a few words, all right. I want to go into the word stigma because this guy said 606. He said 666 is basically, I forgot how he said it, but these guys don't look up words, man. When you look up the words, like the apostles and elders taught us through the Spirit, that's how you truly break down the scriptures, all right. And he basically said the mark of the beast is sin, which is wrong, okay. That's not what it is. And these guys over and over and over again deceive many. So let's get into it.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that.
Salakia, not only did he get the mark wrong, he got the image wrong as well. Continue on.
As many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Meaning, if you don't worship the white man Jesus, they say you're going to hell. That's what they tell you in your dope houses called Christian churches. Read. What verse you went?
That was verse 15.
Read. Come on.
And he called.
The image of the beast is not the white Jesus. That's not the image of the beast. Okay? The image of the beast is this system. All right? Esau society. That's the image of the beast. And the image of the beast is going to present its mark. You have the image of the beast, which is the system, and you have the mark. The system is going to present its mark. You have to have the mark to be a part of the system. When you take the mark, that's a form of you worshiping the image, because that means that you're down with the system. You see how simple that is? So these guys are talking about it's treasury boat. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's just an idol. Let's continue on.
All, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
That's what I was talking about earlier. In their right hand and in their forehead. Meaning to do sin and think sin. That's all it's talking about. Ain't talking about some microchip that do crap out of your head.
And the reason these guys teach that is because they took the bag, man. They're under particular gag orders. Okay? They have a 501c3. They have a curriculum. Yeah, they can mention Esau here and there, and you notice these guys don't really talk about the destruction. Okay? They don't really talk about the destruction. The only thing that you really hear these guys pushing is the law. Which the law is good. We're not taking away from that. But that's really the only thing that they teach. Now, when it says in their right hand or in their forehead, you have many, many examples of people getting the MOTB in their hand, because that's how you pay for things. Okay? You can get it in your hand. You see they got these different hand scanners, right? Is not Elon Musk presenting a brain chip? Okay? Are not they testing brain chips on people? That's what it's talking about, man. And if you notice, this guy didn't go to the next verse, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. How the hell are you going to buy and sell with sin? See, you got to make it make sense, but when you teach them to a bunch of dummies, they're going to sit there and everybody's going to be docile. Everybody's going to be at awe on how you're teaching the scriptures, man. So if it's talking about sin, how are we going to buy and sell with sin? That's what they should have been asking Deacon Yawasat. But everybody's in there they're sheep. They're sheep being led to the slaughter. Okay? Now, with the micro C-hip, you can buy and sell. You can make transactions. Okay? And how are you going to get that micro C-hip? You're going to get it by this devil is going to puncture your skin. And that's why I wanted to go into the word stigma. Okay? We know what the Greek word, we know what charagma means. Okay? But I wanted to go into the word stigma. Because these guys are blatantly going off. If you know how to break down the scriptures, you can spot these dudes a mile away. Whose mouths must be stopped.
Ain't no microchip gonna make you sin. People stupid as hell. The white man puts a thought in your mind to make you think that sin is pleasurable. And you end up thinking it and you end up doing it. That's the mark being in your head and in your hand.
Wrong. Wrong.
Oh, great.
Particular way to mimic Cesar Borgia. Look.
So what I want to do is let's go into the precept. This is we don't even got to read this. We know this by heart. So he broke down the image wrong and he broke down the mark wrong. Totally butchered the scriptures. So let's go to the point. Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls them all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, why didn't he keep reading? Why didn't he keep reading? Okay? We know the word mark means charagma, right? We'll do it. We'll look it up anyway. But I really want to get into the word stigma. Okay? Because you got new brothers out there watching. And they have to be fed as well. Okay? Now, IUIC saying that it's sin. And this is the Greek word for mark.
Strong's G, 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
Okay, it says a stamp or an imprinted mark. Okay? Now, let's look up the word imprinted. What does it mean to imprint? How is this translated to sin, brothers? The word mark in Revelation 13 and 16 is charagma. It said charagma means a stamp or an imprinted mark. So go look up the word imprint. It means to impress or stamp, a mark or outline on a surface or body. And when you look up how these devils are going to hit people, you're going to see that they're going to put something inside your body, man. They're going to stamp or mark your body. It's not rocket science. But when you're blinded by false prophets, you're not going to see it. And all of these people who's in the IUIC who believe what this man is saying, you better hope like hell Yahweh Shem Yahushai gets you up out of there, man. Or else your ass going to be in line to get that. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell, save he had had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So this mark, you're not going to be able to buy or sell with it. So it has to be something that's dealing with currency. Is not Esau's whole system going digital? Do not they have digital IDs coming out? Are they not trying to get rid of cash? I mean, you got to start using your brains here, man. Are they not using the C-hip in certain parts of the world for transactions? Absolutely they are. They did it with the company 3 Square Market here in America.
And Whole Foods.
Think of the company down there in Wisconsin. We covered that. Where they C-hip their employees. And what was they doing? Buying shit at the vending machines. Buying coffee. You niggas better wake the hell up, man. And stop listening to these retards, man. Now let's check the 18th verse out. It's still talking about the mark. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now let's look up what 666 means. I can't wait till the Lord get rid of these dudes, man.
Strong's G, 5516. Chai, Ksai, Stigma.
Hey, want to know how
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Akims out there on the 4 quarters of the earth to claim this truth. Brakah the Yahweh, Brakah the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kadash, Brakatam. So, I'm going to play the rest of that video because there is a part 2 to it. For some reason it got cut off. But I just want to read a couple of articles because, well, the he that's going to have understanding is going to be an elect. The elect are going to get it. They're going to understand the 100% truth. That's the he that has understanding, okay? They're going to know what the mark of the beast is, the MOTB. You know, so it's very simple. It's, again, like you said, not rocket science. But before all hell breaks loose, they're going to also crack down on what you can and can't say, right? I mean, that's why half of the videos that I do, there's another half that I cannot talk about on YouTube just because of the recent, you know, you could say censorship, you know, just things that would get your video flagged or taken down, right? There's just certain things you can't talk about. And I can only go so far into monkey butt because we know how they're going to use monkey butt, you know. Possibly. It's a possible scenario. And nonetheless, though, found this article. The EU just declared war on free speech in America. It is time to fight back. Well, how they do that? Well, like everything else, though. Well, I just talked about some of the algorithms of YouTube alone, but even more so, they're eventually going to stop what you say on the streets, and they're going to do it with the so-called Palestinian protest and all that. That's why you're seeing them marching down the DNC. You know, Soros has infiltrated that group. That's why you see them at the DNC fucking convention and shit. Everything's controlled, and in fact, tell you something else that's about to go on to show you that this whole thing is rigged if you didn't know already. 8 years ago, the U.S. government launched war bond campaign featuring a painting by artist Norman Rockwell and the struggle against the authoritarian threat from Europe. Picture they chose was Rockwell's freedom of speech depicting a man rising to speak his mind at a local council meeting in Vermont. The image railed the nation around what Louis Brandon called our indispensable right. And like everything else, though, yeah, you can't talk about certain things anymore because it might be considered anti-Semitic, right? You see all those fucking commercials, right? So you can't speak against their fucking wars, you know. And, you know, Soros has gotten into the Palestinian rights groups, right? You know, just so that way it's just like Black Lives Matter, which he also funded, you know. Now that very right is under attack from another European government which claiming the right to censor what Americans are allowed to say about politics, science, and other subjects. Oh, wait a minute, he wasn't allowed. You know, you had to trust the science not too long ago, right? Just trust the science. Well, science is really fucking full of shit. Your politicians are full of shit. Everything is bullshit. Wait a minute, isn't that an Ice Cube song? Everything is corrupt. Everything is fucked up. Yeah, I do remember that being in a song. For Rockwell, the scene was a riveting example of how one man in this country could stand alone and be heard despite overwhelming opposition to his views. It was Rockwell, and for many of us, the quintessential American movement, right? Moment. But you see, like everything else, though, that's all been taken away. But wait, there's more. Now, I talked about this a few months ago when I tried to go get my car registered around this time, and well, somebody else has actually complained, right? Reading man frustrated after DMV redirects certain services to kiosk online options. And by the way, those so-called online options, you have to pay a service fee. Yeah, they nail you for an extra $3 as if registration isn't enough. I mean, they really fuck you right up the ass. Let's see if we could just play the video part.
Eddie Man is sharing his recent experience with the local DMV following the department changing their services for customers statewide. Donald Arnold says back in June he waited in line for 20 minutes at the DMV on Civic Center Drive. He was there for vehicle registration renewal, but says after the wait, a DMV worker told him they no longer offer that service on site, instead referring him to an off-site kiosk or online option.
Which is that
no
food, Max?
offered there include
Other side of town, by the way.
Facing your driver's license and ID card.
I was shocked, and he handed me this piece of paper. that says all the things they don't do anymore here at the DMV. So I was curious as to why this person's there if they don't do these things, and why us as taxpayers are paying for this building and all these people to work here.
Exactly. They're
DMV
not working there. They're not helping
you. The department is, quote, expanding its digital transformation efforts and bringing more services
digital ID.
online. They say the changes were implemented in early June this year, and this has reduced potential wait times for customers by requiring simple transactions be completed through an alternative out.
By the way, they don't take debit cards.
Include going online or using self-serve kiosks, which they say are often at DMV offices and sites like grocery stores. Arnold says he worries, though, some people may not have access to necessary resources, telling us he would like to see customers get a heads up about the changes.
So, like everything else, though, that's what's going on there. Now, I think it's interesting that somebody actually complained enough. And you want to talk about rigging, you want to talk about all this. Oh, wait, this guy did talk about everything being rigged. Well, he's joining forces with Trump. Yes, RFK Jr., who actually used to speak out against the, very special companies that nobody's allowed to speak against. Well, he's endorsing Trump, who brought you Operation Warp Speed. RFK Jr. campaign mulling joining forces with Trump because we run the risk of enabling Harris-Walz presidency. Just days after refuting reports that RFK Jr. approached Harris for cabinet position, his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, just dropped a bombshell during podcast that could change the race considerably. Appearing on the Impact Theory podcast, Shanahan said that they are debating whether to stay in the race or drop out and join forces with Trump. So there we go. He is going to submit to Trump. He is going to kiss his boot, showing you that they all bow down to the Israeli state. They do exactly what they want. And they control both sides. Duh. Well, we here, the elect, already knew that. It's over for Esau Edom, man. Their system is rigged. And it's not for them, it's against them. AKA Egyptian against Egyptian, what the Most High said that he would turn them against each other. Well, it's happening. I'm going to play part 2 of the video that I started. And we'll read some more articles from there.
Strong's G 5516. Chai, Ksai, Stigma.
Chai,
Ksai, Stigma.
Okay? And the blue letter doesn't really give you a lot on it, but we can go into the etymology of the word, and I was just interrupted, Salakia, brothers. Yeah, I was getting down in the spirit. So, Satan had a damn fucking AT&T calling me, so I stopped the video, but I'm back. All right? Stigma. See, that's why the deacon didn't read down. He didn't read down. You're supposed to keep reading, man. But all he could say is, ain't talking about no microchip. Ain't talking about no micro. Why you ain't keep reading? Why you ain't going to the Greek? Why you didn't look up stigma? Check this out, brothers. A mark made on skin by burning with a hot iron. Stigma. From Greek, stigma. Now this is the one I wanted right here. Mark or a pointed instrument to puncture. What do they use to C-hip you, man? They use a pointed instrument to go into your skin. And they stick it in you. They puncture you. You see that word puncture? Okay? Let's look up pointed instrument. This is crazy, man. Well, we all know what a pointed instrument is, all right? To puncture. Come on, man. What does it mean to puncture? Puncture. Small perforation or wound. Pricking. You brothers can't. Come on, man. Let's separate the false prophets from the true prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. Let's separate the false prophets from the true prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It says to pierce with a sharp pointed of any kind. This is going all the way back to what the scriptures say in Revelation 13. This is the mark that it's talking about, man. These devils are going to go into your skin and stick a device in you, okay, to fulfill his NWO. And you got clowns talking about it's sin. It's sin. That's why the Lord, when he judges, he's going to judge harshly, man. Okay? And these clowns, they know better. And when I first came into the truth, man, back in 2010, all right? The Wada Ti Halbashim Yao Shai, I'm going on what, 15 years now? The Wada for keeping me in the faith, man. All praises. And the rest of you brothers are still going. When I came into the truth, man, the apostles and elders used to get on Nate so bad, they used to cuss his ass out. And I used to always wonder why. I'm like, man, this guy can't be that bad, you know? I was young. I'm like, damn, they're getting on Nate again. And now I see why, man. I get it. Because they're going against the truth, man. And it's vexing. It's almost like you see a dude, you may say, you too old for that shit, man. Y'all will stop. Because it's not hard, man, to see what we're talking about. But they got, like I said, they got that gag order, man. And this devil is going to come down having great wrath. Because he knows that he has but a short time, man. And all you do is, y'all still playing with the breakdowns. That's why I put on the brother's comment, man. These breakdowns that they do piss me off. But I understand this prophecy, man. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. The devil has come down into you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And these guys are playing games. Because they in it for the money. Don't make no damn sense, man.
Their forehead.
That's what I was talking about earlier. In their right hand and in their forehead. Meaning to do sin and think sin. That's all it's talking about.
No, it's not. You ain't even look up no words. Look at his hand. That's all it's talking about. You ain't look up nothing, man. And I want to call this dude names, man, but out of the respect of the apostles and elders told us to tone it down, I'm going to respect that. But this is unacceptable, man.
You ain't talking about some microchip? That bull crap out of your head. Ain't no microchip gonna make you sin. People stupid as hell.
No, the way you breaking it down is stupid as hell, man. Because I just clearly just went into words. We went into charagma, we went into stigma. And it shows you, man. So I'm gonna leave it there, all right? Elder Brother Menatazak did a beautiful video. I checked it out. I wanted to land back. And with that, all praise be to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, you will edify. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. With that, it's Brother Zion signing off. Shalom.
So, like everything else, man, false prophets, well, they're being discovered now. We've already lifted the skirt of Bishop Nathaniel Nate, you know, long time ago, but he's the one that gets the most attention because he really goes out of his way. Now, I'm not saying General Yana doesn't. I'm just saying he just really goes out of his way, though. You know, calls us stupid, dumb as hell, you know. So, yeah, you know, no, it's not really worth it to lose your, as you would say, yoga moment, you know, lose your inner peace because of retardation, you know. Hey, don't let a retard ruin it for you, right? Israeli state assassinates Fatah official in airstrike in southern Lebanon. So there it is, right there. Well, okay, that's not much of a video, but official with Palestinian Fatah movement had been killed after the Israeli state military carried out airstrike in southern Lebanon. Tensions continue to escalate. This incident marks the first such attack on a Palestinian movement. Fatah and over 10 months of clashes between fighters of the Lebanese resistance movement, Hezbollah, and the Israeli military. So, you know, that's going to pick up even more so way before you know what, you know. Hey, Iran is going to respond. It's just a matter of time. Response to Israeli state could take time. This is coming from the Iranian military. The wait for retaliation by Tehran over the killing of the Hamas leader could be long, according to the Revolutionary Guards. IRGC warned that Tehran's retaliation over the assassination of Hamas leader may only come after a long wait, according to Reuters. In other words, we already know that harsh punishment, because this is what they said, Iran promised to inflict harsh punishment on Israeli state, which has neither denied nor acknowledged any role in the killing. Southeast Asia has been bracing for Iran's avowed retaliation, which has not so far materialized, because again, they want a strategic one and they want time to think about what their attack is going to be, and like everything else, though, they want to hit them hard. In April, Iran fired hundreds of missiles and drones at Israeli state in response to the latter bombing of its consulate in Syria. The barrage was mostly countered by Israeli state's Iron Dome system, but it was still, they still were able to take it down. But a number of missiles did reach their targets, causing what Israeli state claimed was minimal damage to military installations. So like everything else, though, we know that the tensions will continue to rise as we get closer and closer. Iranian mission, manner, and timing of Iran's response will be least expected by Israeli state. See, they're not going to respond when everybody's expecting them to. Iran's permanent mission to the United Nations says that Iran's response to the crimes of the Israeli entity will be surprising and at a time that the entity cannot determine. They're not going to be able to determine it. The mission said Iran will carefully calibrate its response to avoid any possible adverse impact that could potentially influence a prospective ceasefire. So like everything else, though, they're on their time, you know. It's not going to be on the time that everybody expects it to. They were thinking that, oh, okay, it'll be a week after. Like the last one. Too predictive. You know, way too predictive. And this time they're not going to give any warnings. The last time they kind of did say, look, you may want to evacuate these areas because we are bombing. They're not going to do that this time. So like everything else, though, this is a channel that I was directed by actual Apostle Tahar to check out, so I am, you know. And so like everything else, though, they have news clips and they get into this, right? And this is going into Benjamin, not a Jew. Salakia, goddamn commercial.
Israeli soldiers reportedly attempted to cross the southern Lebanese border near the Hadab Aita forest, a region marked by long-standing tensions and occasional skirmishes between Israel and Hezbollah. The soldiers were confronted by Lebanese resistance forces, who claimed to have successfully repelled them back across the border into Israel. According to Lebanese sources, this was not an isolated incident, but part of a series of encounters where the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, have allegedly carried out small-scale operations close to the border. These operations are believed to involve reconnaissance and other activities aimed at testing the readiness and defensive capabilities of Lebanese movement and the Lebanese armed forces in the region. The Hadab Aita forest, like much of the southern Lebanese border, has long been a flashpoint for friction between the two sides. The Lebanese movement's presence in the area, along with the group's significant influence in southern Lebanon, has made this region particularly sensitive. The recent incident, though contained, adds to the ongoing tension and underscores the fragile nature of the ceasefire that has held since the last major conflict between Israel and the Lebanese movement. Analysts suggest that these recurring operations by the IDF may serve multiple purposes. On one hand, they could be intended to gather intelligence on Lebanese movement's defensive strategies, troop movements, and fortifications. On the other hand, these incursions might also be a way for Israel to assess how quickly and effectively the Lebanese movement can mobilize and respond to potential threats. The outcome of such probes could be a determining factor in Israel's broader strategic calculations regarding any future military actions in Lebanon. The Lebanese movement issued a statement describing the confrontation. According to the statement, Lebanese movement fighters observed and tracked the movement of Israeli soldiers in the area. Upon detecting an infiltration attempt by the group of soldiers, Lebanese movement's fighters engaged them using rockets and artillery shells. The confrontation resulted in the Israeli forces retreating, with the Lebanese movement claiming to have inflicted confirmed casualties. The statement further emphasized the Lebanese movement's actions as part of its ongoing support for the Palestinian cause, particularly in the Gaza Strip. As an expression of solidarity with the Palestinian resistance, Hezbollah reported that it had targeted the Israeli military site at Al-Raheb with artillery shells. The group
The Biden administration finally...
Salakia, goddamn devil. This is going to be a tough one.
that the attack on the site resulted in direct hits, signaling its continued commitment to supporting Palestinian fighters in their struggle against Israeli forces. However, despite the heightened activity, the situation remains complex. While Lebanese movement's successful repelling of the Israeli soldiers may be seen as a defensive victory, it also raises concerns about the potential for escalation. If these probing operations continue, they could lead to a cycle of retaliation and counter-retaliation, increasing the risk of a larger conflict. For now, the lack of significant casualties and the relatively limited scale of these encounters have kept the situation from spiraling out of control. The broader context is also important to consider. The border between Israel and Lebanon has been a focal point for regional tensions for decades, with both sides wary of the other's intentions. The presence of UN peacekeeping forces and ongoing diplomatic efforts have helped maintain a precarious peace, but incidents like this one highlight the fragility of that peace. Should Israel decide to escalate its activities, or should Lebanese movement respond more forcefully, the region could be drawn into another cycle of violence that would have serious repercussions, not just for Israel and Lebanon, but for the entire Middle East. In a detailed analysis, an analyst at the Open-Minded Thinker News Team, OMT, presented a compelling overview of how a potential Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, ground offensive in Lebanon against Lebanese movement might unfold in the event of a large-scale conflict. The analyst emphasized several critical factors that would shape the outcome of such a military operation. First, they noted that Hezbollah's extensive preparations over the years have made southern Lebanon one of the most fortified regions in the Middle East. The Lebanese movement has developed a complex network of tunnels, bunkers, and underground facilities designed to protect its fighters and weaponry from airstrikes and to allow for surprise attacks on advancing IDF forces. This defensive infrastructure would pose significant challenges to any ground offensive, requiring the IDF to engage in intense and costly urban and guerrilla warfare. Moreover, the analyst highlighted that Lebanese resistance has amassed a vast arsenal of precision-guided missiles and rockets capable of striking deep into Israeli territory. These weapons could target critical infrastructure, military bases and civilian areas, aiming to create widespread disruption and inflict maximum casualties. The IDF would likely prioritize neutralizing these missile sites early in the conflict, but Lebanese resistance's decentralized command structure and the dispersal of its arsenal would make this a daunting task. The analyst further observed that the IDF would need to conduct a rapid and overwhelming ground assault to prevent Lebanese resistance movement from launching sustained rocket barrages against Israel. However, such an offensive would be met with fierce resistance, as Lebanese fighters are highly trained, motivated, and familiar with the terrain. The analyst warned that this could lead to a protracted and bloody conflict, with heavy casualties on both sides. Additionally, the analyst pointed out that the involvement of regional and international actors would likely escalate the conflict. Hezbollah's close ties with Iran and Syria could draw these countries into the fray, either directly or through proxy forces. This would complicate Israel's strategic calculations, potentially leading to a wider regional war. The analyst suggested that Israel would have to balance its military objectives with the risk of broader regional destabilization. Meanwhile, fresh tensions between the adversaries have escalated sharply as missile barrages and drone incursions from the Lebanese resistance continue, following the assassination of a top commander in Beirut. The latest incidents have resulted in injuries after 3 drones from the Lebanese resistance infiltrated the Western Galilee early in the day, while rockets targeted the Upper Galilee region. In response, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, struck targets in southern Lebanon, resulting in the death of at least 1 operative from the group. The growing hostilities have raised concerns in Israeli communities near the Lebanon border, with sirens forcing residents in places like Nahariya to take cover, often without the protection of nearby shelters. The IDF confirmed the detection of several suspicious aerial targets crossing into Israeli airspace, with some successfully intercepted, although others managed to reach the area around Ya'ar. Amid this backdrop of escalating conflict, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Jerusalem for talks with Israeli leaders, meeting with President Isaac Herzog. Blinken described the current diplomatic efforts led by Washington to secure a ceasefire in Gaza as a critical moment, possibly the last opportunity to bring hostages home, establish a ceasefire, and set a course for enduring peace and security. However, the path to an agreement remains challenging. The Palestinian resistance movement has issued a statement placing the blame for the stalled ceasefire negotiations on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The movement accused Netanyahu of deliberately obstructing the efforts of mediators, including those from Qatar and Egypt, who have been working tirelessly to reach an agreement aimed at halting the aggression in Gaza. The Palestinian resistance claims it has engaged responsibly with these mediators and has shown a willingness to accept various proposals to stop the bloodshed, end the war, and secure a prisoner exchange deal. The movement highlights its acceptance of a proposal on July 2nd, based on the Biden Declaration and a UN Security Council resolution, as evidence of its commitment to peace. Despite these efforts, the Palestinian resistance contends that Netanyahu has continued to delay, introducing additional conditions and obstacles that have kept the negotiations in a vicious circle. The statement criticizes Netanyahu for rejecting a permanent ceasefire, refusing a comprehensive withdrawal from Gaza, and insisting on maintaining control over strategic locations like the Netzarim Junction, the Rafah Crossing, and the Philadelphia Corridor. These demands, according to the Palestinian resistance, have derailed the completion of a prisoner exchange deal and have prolonged the conflict. The statement underscores the movement's position that the new proposal aligns with Netanyahu's conditions. Yet the Israeli leader's reluctance to compromise has prevented any meaningful progress.
I think from now on I'm just going to use the VLC player when dealing with this channel. It's just too much goddamn commercials.
The movement holds Netanyahu fully responsible for obstructing the mediators' efforts and blocking the path to an agreement. Furthermore, it places the onus on Netanyahu for the safety of both Israeli prisoners and Palestinian civilians, who remain in grave danger due to the continued aggression in Gaza. The Palestinian resistance has reaffirmed its commitment to the terms agreed upon on July 2nd, and has called on mediators to pressure Israel to implement the agreed measures, emphasizing that the international community must hold Israel accountable for its actions in Gaza. In a related development, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim discussed the current situation in Gaza, expressing deep concern over the ongoing violence. Both leaders emphasized the importance of unity and coordinated action among Islamic countries to address the crisis and prevent further loss of life. They voiced their shared belief that the continuous support of the United States and Western nations for Israel contradicts their stated commitment to human rights, hindering efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. During their discussion, Pezeshkian and Ibrahim reflected on the long-standing ties between Iran and Malaysia, reaffirming their mutual commitment to regional stability. The conversation highlighted their shared frustration with the lack of progress in ceasefire negotiations, which they attribute to the unwavering backing that Israel receives from Western powers. This support, they argue, perpetuates the suffering of the people of Gaza. Both leaders underscored the necessity for Islamic nations to take a unified stance against what they described as the ongoing crimes in Gaza. They suggested that convening a meeting of the heads of Islamic cooperation countries could be a crucial step toward halting the violence. In their view, such collective action is essential to counter the current challenges and to work toward a peaceful resolution in Gaza.
And like everything else, though, we know that the least of the flock shall draw everyone in. But, you know, there's one more thing, and we know that that one more thing is the one thing that IUIC and ISUBK and many of them will not even get into, and that is how to, well, if they can't even tell you what it is, then how are you going to not get it, right? When they say, well, it ain't no damn micro C-hip, right? You know, that we're stupid, you know? Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. The third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worships the beast in his image, gets down with the system, because those that are down with the system will receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. That is the MOTB, the micro C-hip. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Just for taking that. Now, we would all be subject to this cup of wrath of his indignation if the MOTB was something else. If it, say it was sin or sleeping with a so-called Edomite woman, right? Or even looking at the image of Cesare Borgia, which all of us have seen that image and we was taught that image. But all that is an idol, you know. It's still a commandment, you know, thou shalt have no other gods before me. But at the same time, you know, and thou shalt not worship the graven image. But that's not the MOTB. So you can already see what the consequences are. Well, we'd all be damned already. And shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And we already know what the holy angels are. They're the chariot sightings, because that's the vehicles and how they come and how they visit. The presence of the Lamb, quite simply, when he comes on the largest chariot. The smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, meaning that you don't just die and rest in peace, as they say. Who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So whoever worships the beast and his image is down with Babylon. Took a 501c3, because I'll throw that in there. Sure I will. Because they're down with this system. Well, they're going to take the implantable micro C-hip, because according to them, the implantable micro C-hip is not the MOTB anyway. So they already worship the beast in his image, and they will receive the mark of his name. And you already know the consequences of it. Stop listening to false prophets. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. And we keep the names thereof too, because the names are very much important. You know, and IUIC, well, they're still calling them by the so-called Plantation Christian name, right? They still call them JC. You know. Nonetheless, so there's more on the longer length of this, but just certain stuff you cannot talk about here on YouTube. So this YouTube portion, I'm about to conclude. For that, I want to say Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Wa Abba Babal. Brakathum, Jehovah Elect. Shalom.